So as all of you may know, the popular manga series Attack on Titan has recently ended. And oh boy, do fans have mixed feelings about it. Today I'm just gonna say my personal thoughts on it. With that being said, let's get right into the video. To start things off, I'll just mention what the final chapter does right. For me, the best part of the chapter was when Levi saluted to the fallen soldiers. Finally bringing him peace, as he's not only accomplished what he's promised, but also made sure that their lives were not to waste. If there was a panel of Levi opening up a tea shop with Falco and Gabby working with him, I'd probably jump out of my chair with joy. But I'm satisfied with the shot of Levi in the wheelchair by Falco, Gabby, and Onyankopon. I think that was pretty good. Another part I really liked was that Falco and Gabby kissed, something Eren was too pussy to do with Mikasa. Really shows who the Chad of the series is. Also, it was funny when Eren became a bird. Very epic gamer moment. And the last thing I really liked about this chapter was that when talking in the past, Armin and Eren were portrayed as kids. This really allows them to show a lot more emotion, which weirdly enough they didn't. Overall, it just looks nice to see how they looked at the beginning of the series and gradually to see them grow to the state they are now. I know this is something every anime/manga does around the end. We've seen it in Naruto and Chainsaw Man as well. But fam, I eat this stuff up. Now that we're done with the good, I'm just gonna get to the issues I had, which there are a lot of. First off, why the heck did Eren talk to Armin for so long in the paths? I mean, yeah, I want to see the boys interact and all, but come on, show Mikasa. It feels like it would be a lot more fitting if Mikasa was there as well, so the main three of the series, you know, the same three that it started with, can have their final conversation together. It would be a really good way to give closure to the table scene. Like, hey, maybe Mikasa could have called Eren a slave since he was like the biggest slave in the entire series. Nah, let me stop playing, that would be foul. Another issue I had was that it wasn't even hinted that Eren liked Mikasa. This much, at least. Like, in his final act, he did more for her than I've seen anyone do for anyone else in fiction. It seems he liked her more than Freedom. Even more than she liked him. Like, man, her crush was shown since the beginning. But his was, like, never hinted at. What made the big reveals in Attack on Titan so special were that there was so much foreshadowing for this stuff. Just look at Reiner and Bertolt's betrayal. It was so funny to rewatch the series and notice how many times it was hinted at. Eren's crush, not so much. And honestly, I don't mind Eren doing all of this for Mikasa the whole time much. Like, you know, a man's gotta do what he's gotta do. But how he looked when he revealed how obsessed he was with her was just not it. It just didn't make sense for his cool composure he had been holding this whole time to just break down like that. I guess you could say that he was at his breaking point, and honestly I'd be fine with that. But there is no excuse for my biggest gripe with this series. And that is that Eren died a virgin. Told the boys Eren was not dead. Every time it looked like he was gonna die, no matter how many opponents they went up against, no matter how bad the situation got. I just told them that there was the golden rule. You don't kill off your main character as a damn virgin. Worst part is, Eren didn't even have to leave Mikasa alone. He could have put a baby in her through the paths or something. I mean, logically speaking, he could have given her a baby by modifying her body, because I think he had that kind of power on Eldians with the Founding Titan. That would leave Mikasa with something, rather than leaving her lonelier and more miserable than ever. Also on the topic of babies, why was Historia's child shown so much, when she turned out to not be important at all? They really celebrated her birthday like it was at 9/11 times a million. On the subject of horrible atrocities and extremist attacks, they also really acted like Eren was a hero, when he was basically Hitler times 1,000. I also found it strange that it was hinted that Eren killed his mom, which is something that really made the scene with him asking Reiner why his mom had to die really awkward. With all that being said, you may assume I don't like this chapter, which you wouldn't be too wrong about, but I actually somewhat enjoyed it, I guess. With all the capping aside, even with all the criticisms that could be thrown at it, I still thought the ending was pretty solid. I just felt the execution wasn't very good. I feel like Isayama planned on a different ending but changed his mind, then worried about if readers would be okay with it or not, so then he just somewhat rushed it. This is just what I thought from hearing how he changed his ending after watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where it turned out that Yondu did everything for Quill. If I were to sum up my feelings on this final chapter, I'd say it was cool, but incredibly underwhelming. I just feel there was more to see. I remember a lot of people saying this same thing for JoJo Part 6, but I thought JoJo Part 6 ending with that grand final battle was like really epic. And even though, it could have added more, I just felt like I was satisfied with JoJo Part 6's ending. This, not so much. I expected a much longer chapter since this was the final one. And take all my past gripes as jokes if you like, all except for the fact that Eren died a virgin. Like, come on. Why did Isayama do the boy so dirty? I mean, I expected Eren to die in the end, so that's why I expected Historia's baby to be his, because that would mean he didn't die a virgin, even though I'm way more on Eren and Mikasa. Like, I prefer that. And also, I know that many have rated the series a 1 out of 10 out of disappointment for the final chapter, but I feel like that's just kind of dumb. You change your score from a 10 to a 1 because the final chapter disappointed you? Like, come on, what kind of logic is that? The lowest I'd ever give it is a 9, but that's because I'm obsessed, so, I personally left the score of 10 because the entire series was so good that I feel like the ending doesn't really matter at this point. I just feel like people are being a bit too harsh. I've been watching this show since 2013, and one underwhelming chapter ain't gonna change the years of happiness the series gave me. Thank you, Isayama. This is the series I've gotten the most people to go check out. It's the series I've been obsessed with the longest. It's given me happiness in really bad times. This series was so good that it became the reason I wanted to learn to do art and draw manga. I was just so hooked after watching Season 3 Part 1 that I was really inspired. As for Isayama-sensei, I can't imagine how stressing it was making such a masterpiece for 11 years and now finally being able to end it. To that, I can proudly say, you are free. Also, please make a final chapter of Eren and Mikasa clapping. Thank you guys for making it this far into the video. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 1K before May, because if not, I'm going to meet a really harsh fate that I'm trying to avoid. I'm going to be working on some more videos on Attack on Titan, and soon my current favorite manga, Chainsaw Man. So stay tuned for future anime and manga content. Peace.